Hey beautiful people, this one is about how to handle negative feedback, how to transform criticism into growth opportunities. So I'm going to talk about this one in the context of one-on-ones, where you're sitting down with your boss, or you're sitting down with your project manager, or you're sitting down with someone in authority, and you're having a one-on-one conversation that has a bunch of negative feedback in it. Let's talk about how you handle that. I want you to learn how to use a 6-step practice model from my book, The Innovation Mindset. I'm finding that it's actually a very powerful model for reflection and for people putting themselves on a path to building an innovation mindset rather than on sort of imploding in the moment. Also want to help you learn how to be able to transform negative criticism or negative feedback into a growth opportunity for you, and maybe for your boss as well. Also, some really practical stuff on how to stay in relationship. In other words, not have anger get in the way and have the whole damn thing explode on you. I want to help you stay in positive relationship with whoever is giving you the feedback. I firmly believe that feedback well handled and well dealt with can actually accelerate your career growth. I want to talk to you about that. Also, I want you to start thinking about the power of feedback and building your innovation capacity, if you're committed to building that, which I'm assuming you are because you're here. And I want to show you how top performers transform criticism into co-invention and use that as a powerful relationship building tool. By the end of this video, I want to introduce you to the 6-step practice model and show you how to use it in this circumstance. I want you to understand how to stay in relationship and have practices of your own for doing that, and always be able to transform criticism into a growth opportunity, and not a painful growth opportunity, a courageous growth opportunity. Now we're in this situation, we're sitting down with someone in authority, or someone, let's just say your boss for now. You're sitting down with your boss, and your boss is giving you negative feedback on a project that you have just completed, or negative feedback on how you're dealing with or handling your team. What do you do in those circumstances? How do you deal with this, and how do you turn it around in a way that is valuable for you? Now, I think it depends on two things. One, if your boss is blaming you and it feels like they're trying to shame you for what is a learning situation for you, there's a way to handle that. If your boss is giving you feedback, and hopefully they are, if your boss is giving you feedback in a way that they're looking to help you grow, then I want to talk about that differently. So the first one is, if you're in a situation where they're blaming you, or they're angry with you, or they're upset with you, or they're disappointed with you and they tell you they're disappointed with you, that's kind of on them. And the reason why I say that is, I was working with a colleague in another department once. He was heading up another group, and he came into my office one day and he said, "Hey, I'm really disappointed with you." And my response was, "I'm really sorry for you that you're disappointed with me. Is there a particular subject you would like to discuss?" Because he was directing it directly at me as a human being. He wasn't talking about a particular situation or a particular issue. He made it all about me, and I wasn't interested in hearing that, because I really couldn't care whether or not he was disappointed with me. I could care a lot whether or not he was disappointed about how I handled a particular situation. So if you're getting someone who is trying to blame and shame you and project disappointment onto you, it's useful. Now, I was a little defensive in that particular situation, but for a good reason. I think, well, I've justified myself now, so we're all good. But I think what's important in here is for you to recognize, if someone's doing that, you're now asking them, what particular situation are we talking about? What particular instance were you disappointed about? I understand that you're not saying that you are disappointed with me as a human being, but you're disappointed with how I handled a particular situation. So what you're looking to do in there is you're looking to distance yourself from the projected anger or disappointment, and you're looking to be able to create space for yourself to respond as someone who has failed to meet someone else's expectations, but who is still a fantastic person. So let's put that aside for a moment. Now we're having a productive, powerful conversation with your boss where they're giving you a certain level of criticism or negative feedback. And your opportunity is to step into that. If you get defensive, what you're doing is you are now dragging them over into the blame and shame space with you. If you can stay in the space of responsibility and growth, then what you're doing is you're creating an environment for yourself where you're actually able to listen and see what it is that your boss is seeing, which is a growth opportunity for you. The 6-step practice model will step you through this. And the reason why it's a practice model is I recommend that you apply it in multiple different situations and you start putting yourself through the process. The best way I found to do it, write it down, like literally pen and paper, write it down or type it out, but write it down is more effective, and begin to start seeing for yourself how you could have handled situations better. So the 6-step practice model is distinguish. What is the real feedback beneath the criticism? So your boss might be saying, hey, look, I'm not happy with how you handled that project. We ended up being over budget and over time. And what they're doing is the feedback behind that criticism might be, you didn't rely on me enough. You didn't coordinate enough with me. You didn't tell me when things were running over. You didn't give me enough of a heads up so that I could help you, right? So look at what is the feedback behind what appears to you like criticism. The second one is to look at what patterns and assumptions are at play, which is to observe. The only way that you can observe is to create space for yourself and to step back a little bit. So when someone comes to you with criticism, you need to be able to do the deep breath, step back, and be able to see what it is going on for you and with you and the person who's communicating with you and your boss. So patterns and assumptions are, your boss is assuming that you'd enough of a relationship of trust that you would come to them if there was an issue or a breakdown. And you didn't. So now there's an opportunity for you to be able to say, hey, look, I apologize. I should have come to you sooner. I didn't see it soon enough. Is there a way that I can learn how to be able to anticipate breakdowns more effectively and be able to work with you to be able to resolve them before they become a big issue and snowball into something bigger? And that's inviting them to coach you and support you and help you. So if you work on the basis that they are looking to build you up rather than tear you down, then you're going to start taking a different level of responsibility and approach the conversation in a different way. Practice courage. This is the most important step. I really think for this particular conversation, this is the most important step. Practicing courage requires that you sit with your own discomfort. So your discomfort is going to be your automatic response of defending yourself. We all have it. The game in here is how to move away from that defensiveness and actually be able to listen to what it is that your boss is saying to you. If you have to sit in a chair and go, this person likes me and they want to help me grow. This person likes me and they want to help me grow. If you have to repeat that to yourself 10 times as you're having this conversation with your boss, then do that. Say to them, look, I'm hearing you. I just need a minute to sit with this. I've been on the boss side of many of these conversations. I've also been on the employee side of many of these conversations. And what I've seen is that there's a lot more latitude for you to have space to breathe in them than you might think. So I've had people say, hey, can I just stand up and walk around for a minute? Can I just take a moment to think about this? Is it okay with you if we continue this conversation tomorrow? I just need a little more space to think about it. And a decent boss will accommodate all of those requests. So think about you in a space of courageous discomfort. What do you need to support yourself? Once you've practiced courage and you've dealt with the discomfort, then you get to a place of co-invention. Even by asking for space or room to think, you're in a space of co-invention with their boss because they're going to see that you're uncomfortable. That makes them uncomfortable too because they're also a human being, and they go, yes, absolutely, we can continue this conversation tomorrow. When you've had time to sleep on this and think about it, come back and let's talk tomorrow morning. And you set up a time for that. You're now co-inventing a way to be able to deal with your discomfort together and to be able to take care of you in the situation. If your boss is a great boss, they're all over that. Once you have the conversation the next day, you're now putting yourself in a position to be able to create knowledge together. And the knowledge is going to be, how do I handle difficult situations better? How do I put up red flags when my project is running over? How do I handle situations where there's a breakdown that I've seen it? I can see the domino effect that's likely to happen. I'm not sure how to bring it to my boss. I can create an environment now where I can go to my boss and go, we've had a breakdown. I know there's a domino effect. I can't see exactly where it is it's going. I need another set of eyes on it. And you can have that kind of relationship where you're bringing them in to be able to coach you and support you when you know you're too close to your own learning edge or capability edge, and you can get some help. As you do that, you lay the foundation for true innovation, because if you have that relationship of trust, if you have practices built around how you handle your day-to-day coordination around things working and not working, which is an inevitable part of work, then what you do is you create a space for co-invention. And within the period of 3, 6, 9, 12 months, a year, you're building a practice with your boss where you're actually able to innovate together, and you're able to move beyond the noise of the breakdowns and the negative feedback. You're now actually going to be able to co-invent and innovate with them. What we've talked about in this video is the practice of staying in relationship in a conversation where it doesn't become a he said, she said, or he said. It becomes a conversation around how do we stay in relationship and how do we build something together. And if your boss is, as I suspect, giving you critical feedback in a way that isn't blaming and shaming, they're inviting you to step up into a space of responsibility, practice it, do it, ask for help while you're doing it, be transparent and open and honest about what it is that you're doing, and you will find the support show up all around you. I've done another video on this topic which I think you will find useful, and it is how do you handle feedback and criticism, talking about that in the context of how do you talk about that in an interview. If you show up in an interview with practices for dealing with these type of situations, people know that you are someone who is self-reflective, who takes responsibility, and who is able to handle themselves in a very mature way in the workplace. That video is how to handle feedback and criticism, interview questions. Enjoy it. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know in the comments whether or not this is valuable for you. And I wish you the very best of luck. Breathe deeply. You can do this. Take care.